Liar, Liar by Ann Butler. Simon takes great care with his appearance. He did all he could on his small budget to disguise the fact that he's from one of the most deprived areas of South London. He has ambitions for a lifestyle a million miles away from this, from where he started. Let me tell you where he started. His parents owned a reasonably successful cleaning company with domestic and commercial clients. When he was 12, he started helping them after school. Nothing arduous. Emptying bins, dusting, loading and emptying dishwashers. Him helping out meant that his parents could spend less time at each site without paying for more staff. When he whined about this, his dad would verbally give him what for. "You need to learn how your bread is buttered, son," his dad would often say. Mostly, his dad would simply tell him to shut up and get on with it. Although it was said without bite, Simon hated not having the option to play with his mates after school. He still had his weekends with them, but he fumed each time his mum or dad picked him up after school, so that there was no danger of him dawdling his way out of what they called his responsibilities. He missed out during school holidays as well, which he had special resentment for. Almost as great as his resentment for the fact that his parents were ruining his life. When he was 14, he told his parents that he'd been opted into an after-school club. He got away with it, his first big lie, for a week. His mum smelt a rat when he couldn't give her any details about what he'd been up to in this after-school club. They stopped his pocket money for a month. That didn't deter Simon. The episode taught him that a lie could get you what you wanted, even if it wasn't forever. He'd just need to be cleverer next time. After a sociology lesson about child labour early in the previous century, he wondered whether his parents might get into trouble if it became known they had him working most days. When he mentioned this to them, his mum nudged his dad's shoulder. They looked at each other and started giggling. He hated when they got giggly. He thought it made them look stupid and it embarrassed him when they got like this in public. And anyway, what was so funny? "It's no secret, son," his dad said, and reached over to ruffle his hair. Simon wanted to bat that hand away. Instead, he just frowned and ducked. The lie popped into his head. "I heard one of the teachers talking about us," he said grumpily. "They said they're going to call some hotline or other." That killed his parents' laughter. "Which one of your teachers?" his mum wanted to know. He shrugged and walked away. As he left the room, he heard them talking softly. Later, while they were eating dinner, his mum told him that after this week, they'd managed their cleaning jobs without him. He tried not to smile in triumph. Maybe he should have, because his dad's look suddenly got all intense. Instinctively, Simon knew that his dad knew he'd lied about a teacher wanting to call a hotline. Still, they didn't change their mind. When he thought about it afterwards, he realised he didn't actually care that his dad had caught on. He got what he wanted. That cancelled out any parental disapproval. His parents didn't understand what it was like not having time with his friends because he had to empty bins and dust and other boring stuff. He'd finally stopped them from ruining his life, and that's all he cared about. The years went by, and now here he was. Simon landed this job when he was barely 18. When he finished school, his parents made it clear that if he wasn't going on to college, he certainly wasn't laying around the house all day doing nothing. He thought they were unnecessarily harsh and argued back, but they wouldn't budge. He had 6 months, or they'd cut off his spending money. He practiced his interview patter and padded out his CV with work experience, even though his only work experience was the work he had done for his parents, and that had ended 4 years before. The woman interviewing him loved hearing about how hard-working he was and made him an offer on the spot. His charming demeanour and well-groomed hair helped. His parents were over the moon. "You can start contributing to the household," they said. "How much are they paying you?" It won't surprise you to know he knocked £200 off his monthly salary. He didn't understand the look his parents exchanged. They knew that the company he'd be working for were unlikely to be paying him below minimum wage. They let it go. Simon spent the next 18 months flying by the seat of his pants. He relied on his charm, gorgeous hair, and whatever lie he believed he could get away with. If his bosses weren't going to see it, he didn't do it. Or he'd start something and get someone else to finish it. In his mind, he was the smartest person on the team, and he was absolutely certain that he was getting away with skimming by. He was too blinkered to realise what a sore disappointment he was to his boss, the woman he had so impressed during his interview. When she finally sat him down to tell him that she was putting him on a performance improvement plan, he couldn't understand it. How had she seen past all his ruses? She was as old as his parents and just as stupid. He supposed he'd have to play willing until this went away. In the meantime, he pulled another lie out of the hat. He'd been distracted because of stuff at home, he told her. You see, his mum was dying. His boss was taken aback that he hadn't mentioned this before. He dropped his head and added a catch to his voice when he replied it was too difficult to talk about. One of his colleagues had lost a family member shortly after Simon joined the team, and he remembered how everyone had rushed in to help him and take on some of his work. His boss said how sorry she was and asked what she could do, just as Simon knew she would. And so he got his reprieve. But the thing with liars, especially when, like Simon, they're certain that no one is as clever as they are, is it's only a matter of time before they're found out. In Jamaica, there's a saying for that. Time is longer than rope. There's even a Prince Buster track with this title. And for those who don't know, Prince Buster was a ska superstar back in the 1960s and 70s. I digress. Simon's time ran out very suddenly, and it was all down to an unfortunate coincidence. It turns out that his parents' cleaning company cleaned the home of one of his colleagues. This colleague, Greg, had got his days mixed up and happened to be working from home when the cleaner, Petra, arrived. Several minutes of chit-chat later, Petra made the connection between Greg and Simon. Small world. Imagine you working with the boss's son, she marvelled. When Greg expressed sympathy regarding Simon's mum's illness, Petra was shocked. After Greg explained that Simon had confided in his colleagues, she scoffed. That one's always been a lying toe rag, she told Greg. Greg sent an email to their manager about what he'd found out. Then he emailed a couple of other people on the team. By the next day, everyone knew. Simon strolled into work 30 minutes late. Someone had printed off a meme and left it on his desk. It was of a cartoon character running around with flames billowing out of the back of his trousers. He picked it up, stared at it, then looked up. Everyone was staring at him. And like that, he knew that they knew. He looked around him, looked around the office, as though looking for somewhere to hide. He looked down at the meme again. And while he was processing just how deep a hole he was in, his phone rang. It was his dad. Weird. Come to think of it, his dad had been off with him last night, and so had his mum. When he answered, his dad's voice was harsh and angry. Don't even think of resigning from your job. Do you hear? If you resign or if you're fired, we're throwing you out without a penny. It's time to face up to your lies, son. You have just listened to Liar, Liar. The story was written and narrated by Ann Butler. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe to receive notification of new episodes. Background music provided courtesy of Pixabay. Please feel free to share this story, but note, no portion of this episode should be adapted or broadcast without written permission from a member of the Book Griffin team.